Andrea?
Hi, teacher.
Hi. So let's just wait a couple of minutes, see if someone else joins. And if not, we're just going to go ahead and start.
Okay.
So what did you guys do yesterday with just money? Did you practice the speaking section?
Yes, we practice speaking a lot. At the beginning, it was a little difficult for me to speak, but later I could speak a little more.
Okay, that's great. That's good to hear. Okay. So actually today we're supposed to do the same thing because for this part of the speaking section, we're supposed to have 2 theory classes. So we're just gonna go and practice a bit more about the same speaking task that we saw. So the first one, so that we can master that. And so I think we can get started now. So is that okay? Do you have any questions before we start?
Okay.
Okay. So what would you say the biggest problem here is when you have this task? What's the biggest, or maybe, I don't know, is there something that you're struggling with? Or everything's going good?
I didn't see that. Oh,
I'm sorry, you didn't see?
no, I didn't see that presentation.
Oh, okay. So I was saying what we're going to be doing today is just practice the same speaking task. So this is supposed to be the last class in which we're going to be focusing on that task. And next week, we're going to move on to the other speaking tasks that we got. But today,
Okay.
we'll continue practicing the first one. Okay. So let's see, you know what to do, right? You got the question, you read it, and then you'll be given 15 seconds to just prepare everything or reread the question. And then you'll have to answer it in 45 seconds or speak in 45 seconds.
Okay.
Remember that you need to give at least one reason and at least one example. So let's see. Okay, let's start with this one here. So here's the first task we're going to be doing, that you are going to be doing. So this one says, some say it's better to remain loyal to one company all their lives. However, others prefer to change jobs a lot during their lifetimes. Which view do you support? So you need to choose whether it's better to stay at the same company or changing jobs.
Okay.
Now, I'll give you 15 seconds to prepare your response. Okay. So please, let me put the timer on. Okay, so if you're ready, you can start speaking now.
Okay. I think that if you feel uncomfortable in your job, the best way to feel more comfortable is to quit and search another jobs that you feel good and you don't feel pressure. That's I think.
Okay, so that's great. I like your idea. So, okay, let's see how we can improve that response. So the first thing, I mean, you have an argument, right? That if you don't feel good or if you feel like you have a lot of pressure, then the best thing to do is to change jobs. Now, what I would advise you to do is in order to like give it a structure, I would try to start, but first thing, just telling me what your answer like directly to this is. Don't start with your argument because you started right off. Well, if you feel pressure or if you don't feel confident or comfortable in your job, so that's going to be your argument. So leave it for next. At the beginning, you can start right off with telling me something like, well, if you ask me, or I would say, try not to say I think. So I would say, or I would definitely say that it's better to change jobs because that's what you're defending, right? And then you go with your argument. So you need to tell me, since sometimes you feel pressure in your job, or you feel under pressure, or you're not so comfortable by doing what you're doing. So in those cases, it is way better to go ahead and change your job. Okay,
Okay.
so that's gonna give it a structure. And if you could add an example, I would love that. So you could say, for instance, right now, I feel, I don't know, or I just changed my job and I'm working at this new company and I really feel like this is my place. Something short, but you can give that example just to give it that structure. You know what I mean?
Yes, okay, thank you.
Okay. So, hi guys, Daniela, Gaston.
Good evening, teacher.
Good evening,
Hi,
teacher.
guys. Okay, so please don't forget that you need to have your cameras on, everyone. So if you don't mind turning them on. Okay, guys. So what we're doing today is just practicing the same task. We're gonna continue there, and next week we're gonna be moving on to a different one. So today I'm gonna be giving you guys some feedback if you need one, and if you don't, that's okay. So we're gonna be working on different types of questions and see how we can approach them. So let's go with another one. Okay. Let's go with a harder one. So this one here says, do you agree or disagree with the following statement? So this is agree or disagree. The government should forbid violence and bad language in TV programs. Use specific reasons and examples in your answer. So do you guys think that the government should forbid this violence and bad language in TV? So I'll give you guys 15 seconds to prepare your responses. All right. So Daniela, can we start with you?
Okay, teacher.
Okay, so you can go ahead.
I disagree with the about the government accept the bad language in the TV. First, because kids can be watch TV and they can listening and learn about bad words. And second, because it's bad for the education. And I think that it's better that they can don't show that word.
Okay, all right, great. So I like the response. In this case, you had two arguments. So I think that you actually have enough time to give two. But let's try to analyze your response. So regarding the grammar, what I can say is first of all, careful with modal verbs. So remember that after a modal, you need the base form, right? So kids can watch or kids can be watching, right? But be is still in the base forms. Kids can watch or they can learn, they can listen to bad words, to bad language, I don't know. So careful with modals. At the beginning, this is a tip for everyone. When you have this do you agree or disagree type, in general, I would say try to have like a way of starting, like one way that you're going to use it all the time. So create your own template. So you're always going to say this, like I would definitely say, or maybe you're going to say, if you ask me. Now, when you have agree, the verb agree, you need to say I agree with or I disagree with, right? So that's the right preposition. So I agree or I disagree with the statement, and then you can repeat, but I wouldn't suggest you guys repeat the statement. So if you want to say, I disagree with the statement that the government should forbid violence and bad language, try not to repeat because maybe you're going to change the words or forget what it was, or sometimes it's too long and it's just going to take some time. So try not to repeat. You can just say, well, if you ask me, I definitely disagree with this statement. And then you tell me why. And finally, one more thing regarding content, I could say, instead of giving two examples, why don't you try at least once giving an example instead of giving two arguments? Because I noticed that the first one, for example, was about kids listening and watching TV and learning this bad language, right? And the second one was that it's bad for education. But to me, I think they sound pretty close, right? So it might be a bit repetitive. So that's why it's better to just give one argument. You say, I disagree because it's bad for education. And then you can give me an example. So you can say, for instance, my little sister sometimes watches TV at night, and we cannot really control what programs she's watching. So it would be better if the government forbids this. Okay, so I don't know. Is that okay? Any questions?
Okay, teacher, thank you.
Okay. All right, Gaston, you want to try this one?
Teacher, you can, I don't see the question, sorry.
Okay, so you can have 15 seconds more. So the question is, do you agree or disagree with this statement? The government should forbid violence and bad language in TV programs.
Okay, sorry. You can hear me, teacher?
I'm actually hearing myself right now. So, but yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, okay. Teacher, I can know the, I don't know what is the meaning of forbid.
Forbid. Forbid means prohibit. This is a synonym of forbid, like not allow something.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay.
Okay, yes, I am ready, I think. I think I am ready.
You ready? You want to go? Okay. So go ahead.
Okay, I think I am agreed for that because I think the language forbid that things is very good for the expectation and for the people who see TV. I don't know, a lot of kids, a lot of childs see TV, and this type of things are very bad for this education. So I am agree for the forbid that things.
Okay, nice. All right. So again, you agree with this statement, right? That the government should forbid. Okay, so again, I like your ideas. I think you guys are really good on content right now. So you have pretty good ideas, and I like the way you explain them too. Now, some things I can say. So the first thing, what I already said to Daniela, careful with the verb agree and how it's used and the preposition that you need to. So this verb is just like a regular one, so you can never mix it with the verb be. It's not like in Spanish, right? Estoy de acuerdo. The verb be, estar. So in this case, it's just like agree. I don't know, what could it be? Like favorezco, something like that. But you have to say something like I agree. So I agree. And if you wanna say like I agree with this statement, the preposition, the right preposition is with, right? So I agree with this statement, or I agree with this idea, or I agree with this. It could also be with this person on this idea, right? So I agree with you on that. So careful with this. It might be hurting your score. Also try to avoid some words like because and I think. Try to practice and eliminate those. And careful with irregular plurals, like children instead of childs, right? Child and children. So that's the grammar part. And regarding your response, I think that was great, the organization and everything. So yeah, nothing to say about that. Maybe try to add an example if you could, what I was saying. So yeah, that's the only thing. Okay, so is this okay? Any questions so far? Anyone? All right, so now one thing I wanted to say here is that sometimes you're gonna find some patterns in the questions. So for example, this question here reminds me a lot of other questions that I've seen. For example, I don't know if we can look for them right now. Okay, let's look for the word forbid. Or, okay. Okay, so, okay. So for example, look at this question here. Explain whether you agree or disagree with this statement. Countries should no longer be allowed to sell sugary drinks such as Coca-Cola and Pepsi. So countries should basically not be allowed to sell these sugary drinks. Or, I don't know, teenagers should not be allowed to do this. Or people should not be allowed to drive. So there are, in fact, many, look at this one, should not be allowed to have smartphones. So there are many of these type of questions where you have something like, do you think that this group of people should be allowed to do this? So that's like a pattern that I've seen in questions. So for example, you could have an already prepared idea about what to say here. One argument that you could use, for example, is the argument of, what's this? Freedom of choices. I don't know if there's a word for that. The liberty of choices. So it's like, so I think there's a word for this, but I'm not sure what it was. So you could just say, well, I don't think that the government should forbid anything because everyone is free to choose what they want to do with their lives, even if it's not exactly good for them. So you can go on and on about something like that. In that response, you could use it for pretty much every question that you got like that, So do you think that this person should be allowed to do this? So you could just say, well, it's up to us, right? So we should be the ones who decide what we want to do. So that's something that with this, I just want to say that practice and look for some patterns in the questions, and you will see that there are many patterns in the questions and that you will find them. And then it will be easier for you to come up with ideas as you go. Okay, so is that okay? Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah, you guys there? Any questions? All right, so let's go with another one. Okay. I'm thinking. All right, let's go with this one. A college-related question. So this one is, some universities expect the students to choose a major field of study when they enter the school, while other universities wait until the second or the third year before students deciding to choose a major field of study. Which do you prefer, why or why not? Okay, guys, so here's a task. You will have 15 seconds to prepare. All right, so I see we have Joshua here. Hi, Joshua.
Good evening, teacher.
Hey there. Do you want to go first?
Okay, teacher.
Okay, so you can go ahead.
I will definitely say that I prefer to wait until second or third year to choose the major field of study, since when students are younger, most people don't know what to do with their lives, or they don't really know. So to illustrate this, I can give an example of myself. When I finished my bachelor, when I finished primary school, I didn't know what really do. So I chose the first thing I saw, and I think I would I would like to have some time to see other majors until I can decide.
All right, awesome. Okay, so I love the structure, and I want everyone to have a look at that, so you know how it was, right? So at the beginning, your quick intro, I would say that I would prefer to choose my major after 2 or 3 years, maybe when I'm in my junior year, since people, I mean, young people don't know what to do. And then they give, he gave the example, right? So try to keep it that way. I love that. I love that you were using your transitions. Nothing to say really regarding content. And maybe, check out some vocabulary. I see you were struggling thinking about, I mean, what the right word would be. Well, I think you were looking for just in high school, right? So when I finished high school, because primary school is, well, elementary school, right? So elementary school, middle school, and then high school, and then college or university. So check out some vocabulary. And regarding grammar, the only tiny mistake I noticed, and this is something that I would have loved to see, is this structure here, right? So I would have liked to have some time to decide. So I would have liked in the past, right? It's like a regret that you have, or something you wish you had had. So I wish I had had more time. So I would have liked to have. So until I could choose. So maybe you can check out this structure. I think this is I'm not sure what this is. This is the past perfect, isn't it? It's the present perfect, but with a modal. So I would have liked, or I should have done this. I shouldn't have done that. So maybe you can practice that structure, and it's really a good idea to use it here because it's definitely gonna be good, or gonna look good in the grammar part. So careful with that, and great. All right. So maybe Andrea, wanna go now? The same one?
Okay.
Oh. So you can start.
I think that the students have to choose what they want to. They are in super in grades in the last grade at the school, because they think more and see what they want to study. The most important, I think, is have orientation of their teachers to know what they want to study.
Okay, nice, nicely done. So I like the structure this time. Okay, maybe you can add some transitions when you're moving on to a different idea. So on top of that, I would say that the best or the most important part is to have some orientation from teachers or professors. And the other thing, what I was just saying, look at some vocabulary, try to figure out how the system, the educational system works in the United States, right? So, and even here, I think it's the same. So remember, guys, first you have school. So a school means, well, elementary school, which is like primaria here. You got middle school, so it's between elementary and high school. And then you have high school, right? So this is a school. And after school, you go to college or university. Both are okay. And when you are, okay, so usually you have a bachelor's degree, right? That's what you pursue in university. This is just a bachelor's degree. And it is usually 4 years. So the first year is called the freshman year. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to do another one. So in university, when you're pursuing a bachelor's degree, the first year is called the freshman year. So you're a freshman when you just enter university. The second year, you're a sophomore. The third year is the junior year, and then it's the senior year, right? Like in high school, I think. And then you can maybe apply for a master's degree, or maybe a PhD or something like that. But that's basically how it works. And it could be good if you have that vocabulary, right? Because I think you were talking more about school. So you were saying in superior grades. So you could say in higher grades, and when you are in your junior year, in your senior year. So that's gonna really count as word choice. Okay, so try to check that out. What else? Remember that teachers are usually for school and professors are more for college. What else? Careful with gerunds. So the most important part is having orientation, or to have orientation, right? Instead of have. Okay, guys. So any questions so far? Let's go with another one. Okay. Let's see what you think about this. So some people prefer to finish the assignment a long time before the due date, while others prefer finishing assignments right before the due date. Which one do you prefer? So are you the type of person that is completing the assignments right before the deadline, or earlier than that? So again, you have 15 seconds to prepare your responses. All right. So can we maybe go with Gaston? You there?
Teacher, you can hear me?
Yep, I can.
Okay. Okay, I'm okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, I think the people usually finishing the assignments right before the due date, because they don't have a good organization about that life or times. So usually the people don't do the assignments with a lot of time before the due date. So I don't know. Usually I think is the most reason is the usually reason is the people don't have a good organization.
Okay, nice. All right. So what you're saying is completely true. I totally agree. However, make sure that you take these things personally. So I mean, here they're not really asking why do you think people finish their assignments right before the due date? Why don't they do it earlier? So they're actually asking, what do you prefer? So do you personally prefer to finish them right before the due date, or do you do it a bit, I don't know, maybe with some time ahead? So they're asking more about what you do or what you prefer between the two options, not why people do it. Okay, so careful with that. I think that what you said is actually, I mean, it could work. You just have to rephrase it. Maybe you could say, so to me, it's better to, I don't know, finish my assignments right before my due date. And then you can say, since I'm not so good at organizing, and then you tell me what you said, about not having time management skills or something. So make it personal and make sure that you are actually answering the question. And I think that the key here is really to make it personal. So even if they're not really saying which one do you prefer, and they're asking something like, I don't know, what do you think about this? Something a bit broader, even if they're not directly asking you what you prefer, it is 10 times better to just say, well, to me, it's way better to do it with some time ahead, since you don't, I mean, I don't know, you don't have to rush it up, you're gonna do a good job. So always take it personal, okay? That's the tip. And regarding grammar, what can I say? Careful with the use of indefinite article. So the people, you're usually just gonna say people. So I think that people do this because of this reason, and people don't like to do that. Okay, so you don't need that. So is that okay, Gaston? You get the idea?
Yes, teacher. Thank you so much.
Okay, no worries. All right, guys. So one more, maybe. Okay, who hasn't? Andrea, you're up now. Andrea, you there? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So you can start now.
I think that the best we can do is to finish the assignment before the due date, because you can do better when you do the assignment after a few days before it is the time to have the homework. I'm sorry, I'm lost a little.
Okay, but you were just fine. You were just 5 seconds away. And I think you were going really good. I mean, your response was great. Just whenever that happens to you guys, make sure that you never ever say it. Like you have to kind of hide it so that it's not so noticeable, because they wouldn't know. I wouldn't know if you didn't say it. So okay, so if if you're lost at the end of the response, just give a short conclusion. So repeat what your position is. You could say, therefore, that's why I prefer, or that's why I believe that finishing the assignment before the due date is way better, or is the best thing, or is what I do, or is what works for me. I don't know. Okay, so that's what you could add at the end, just to wrap it up. Okay, your response, I really liked it. I think you were keeping the structure this time. So your argument, and then, I'm sorry, your introduction, and then your argument. Maybe an example would have been nice, something like, it could be short. So you could say, to illustrate, or in my case, or in my experience, I don't know, I used to finish my assignments right before the due date, but now I don't do it anymore, and it's better for me. And ever since, I'm getting better grades. So something quick, but you can add that. And also check out some vocabulary regarding, assignments and academic life. So, we say something like, when you're talking about submitting your assignment, so you can use that word. So to submit your assignment, or to hand in your assignment, usually when it's in person, you have due date and also deadline. You could use, that's another word. So those words really help. Okay. All right, okay, so let's go with another one. Let's see what we have. Okay. This is more about relationships. That's another thing right away. Sometimes you have something about relationships. I mean, not just romantic relationships, but just family and friends, or sometimes romantic relationships. So let's look at this one. Do you think that it's a good idea to live with your boyfriend or girlfriend before marriage? Support your points with specific examples and details. Look at that, examples and details. So 15 seconds to prepare. Okay, guys. Maybe Joshua, wanna go first?
Okay, teacher.
All right, so you can go now.
I will definitely think that is a good idea, since when you live with your boyfriend before marriage, you can know each other better and learn some things from the other person. To illustrate this, I can give an example of my cousin who lived with her boyfriend before they got married. So they knew each other better, and now that they are married, they have a strong relationship and a strong marriage.
Okay, Joshua, so that was outstanding, perfect, really. Awesome, well done. You got an example, no grammar mistakes in the example, even though you were using the past, so it had a lot of variety. And it perfectly illustrated what your argument was, so getting to know each other better, learning things from the other person, having a stronger relationship. You had your intro as well, your transitions were there. I didn't notice any grammar mistakes, so nicely done. And even time, was you finished off right just in time. So I think that by now, because I think we've been practicing with you a bit more, so you already know for how much time you should be speaking, and like you can actually measure the things that you're saying, or for how long your argument should be in order to give a more elaborate example. So nicely done.
Thanks, teacher.
Okay. So, all right, maybe Gaston now?
To talk about the same thing, teacher.
Yes, please, the same question.
Okay.
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 So
I think it's better when you go to live with your girlfriend or your boyfriend before you're married, because you can know better the person, about the person, how their life, how is I don't know, his um I don't know if he's cleaning, he is organized person. I think that really.
Okay, nice. Okay, perfect. So the structure was great this time. Okay, one thing I can say is that even though you didn't exactly use the transition, like for example, or to illustrate, I think you're kind of giving examples, you know? So at the beginning, you have your general argument, which is getting to know the other person better before you get married. And then you're telling me specific things, right? About knowing how, whether they're organized or not, whether they're clean or not, or and all those details. So those count as examples or details. So just the only thing that you could do is just make sure to add that transition before. So you say, well, I believe that it's a good idea and it's better to get to know them first, since I don't know, you can learn about the other person. So just add that transition before you go with the details. So tell me, for example, you can know whether they're clean, whether they're organized, whether they're, I don't know, careful, or whether they respect your boundaries, your rules, I don't know. So all of those details, try to mention them as examples, okay, in order to meet these criteria here. And also using the transitions always help, and believe me, or they really add some points. As I said, last class, there's going to be an e-rater looking for those. So just make sure to add them there. And I think it's going to be great. Check out some words related to relationships, like marriage. And one thing, this is for everyone, whenever you have this structure, like it's better, or it's a good idea, or it's not a good idea, make sure that you pronounce these, like even over pronounce the it, so it's better, so that it doesn't sound like you're just saying is better, because that's something that, in Spanish it's different. You can omit the pronoun, but in English you cannot. So that's why there's some confusion around that. So yeah, those are just some comments. The only thing I would add is that transition really. Okay. Any questions so far, guys? Let's go with another one then. Okay. So agree or disagree again. Do you agree or disagree that it's important for young people to learn some domestic skills like cooking, sewing, and taking care of children? Is it important for them to learn these skills? 15 seconds to prepare. Okay, guys. So perhaps Daniela?
Okay, teacher.
All right, so go ahead.
Okay. I agree about the importance of young people to learn some domestic skills, because I think that it is important not to know to cooking, sewing, and taking care of the children. because it is important for our lives and the future, and for the I forget the word. For the survivorship. So I think that it is important to know these things.
Okay, nice. So important to know these skills. All right, so first thing, careful with the time. You went over a bit, and that's okay, you know, no problem. But make sure that you take a look at the clock. When you feel like you've been speaking for quite a while, like you're halfway through, take a look at the timer, how much time you have left, and try to hurry up if you feel like you're about to it's about to be over, or maybe you can just give a conclusion or try to make it look like you're finishing off. Now, if you ever get stuck and you don't find a word, I think maybe survival, was that the word?
Yes.
Okay, so if that ever happens, that's okay. You know, we even in your mother tongue, you can forget that word. But in this case, whenever that happens, just say something like, so moving on, and then you can change the subject. Since you were about to end, you could have just said, so moving on, I think that's why it's important to learn. Or so moving on, I believe that it is really crucial or vital or essential for us to learn that. So you can do a conclusion if that ever happens. What else? Regarding grammar, careful with those irregular plurals again. You know, the children's, it will be just children, which is plural already, right? So I think that children need to learn. Child, children. What else? Again, careful with gerunds. So it's important to know to cook, right? Or to know cooking, but to know to cooking, it's not okay. And yeah, I think, you know, overall, that was a nice response. One thing I'm going to say for everyone, check out some other words, like words for important. I think I mentioned some, right? Like essential, vital, key, crucial. Words for good and bad, like positive, beneficial, favorable, negative. So those kind of words are always in handy. So check them out. Okay. And maybe Andrea, same one. You there, Andrea?
Yes, I'm here. Excuse me, teacher. The internet is cutting too much.
Is it mine?
Yes, I think I can understand.
Okay. Well, but I don't know if it's my internet. Let me see. I'm gonna try to. All right, so I can try to fix it. But let's see if it works better. So you want to maybe go for another task then? Another question? Let's do another one and you'll be the first one next time. Okay, so the next one is, do you agree or disagree with this statement? If you want to succeed in business, being outgoing and friendly is very important. So is it important to be outgoing and friendly when you want to succeed in business? 15 seconds to prepare. Amanda, ready?
Okay.
Okay, so off you go.
I think that if we want to open some job, the important thing that you have to be a person outgoing to speak with other people, to sell your product. I think that could help you a lot, because if you are that do not that is too shy, it's difficult to sell the product and to be to have more work, no? I think that.
Okay, great. Okay, so nothing to say for this one. I like your response. Maybe let's try and change words like I think that, try to use other verbs. Okay, so I would say that, or I consider, I believe, I reckon. Or if you ask me, try to practice, and it's just, believe me, it's a matter of getting used to it. I know that it's quite common. I use it myself all the time, but you know, for this type of test, then yeah, it's better if you don't use. Now, nothing to say really. I like your argument. It's really important in order to sell your products, to talk to other people, maybe negotiate, or even in meetings to, yeah, for everything. I know what you mean. Maybe check out some business vocabulary as well. So if you want to open a business, right? If you want, instead of if you want to open a job. So if you want to open a business or a company, maybe. I like that you said product, so you do have some vocabulary after all. But yeah, it's always good to have some other words related to it. So, okay, guys. So, is there anybody else who would like to try this one before we go? Anybody would like to give it a try? No one wants to go? Okay, then, guys. So, do you have any questions about what we've worked on today? Or anything at all? Or comments? Today was our last class for this task. Next week, we're going to be looking at the speaking task 2 and 3. So they are a bit different. It's not going to be about your opinion anymore. So we'll be looking at that. Okay, then guys, so please, before you go, don't forget to fill out the daily survey. It should be on your screens by now. I think somebody's missing.
Hey, yes, teacher, me, I have problems with my laptop. I don't know how to send.
Oh.
Sorry.
Okay, that's fine for today. No worries. Okay, then, guys, so thank you so much. I'll see you all next week. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you, teacher. See you tomorrow. See you on Monday.
Thank you, teacher.
Sorry.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.